Firefox gets busy.
Wayland is confirmed for Ubuntu 17.10.
Linus kinda had a point.
And OMG Drama.
Welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. That's right, it's time to sit back, relax, take that midweek break, and let's talk about Linux. Because it's really cool, and as we were talking in the pre-show, it's like the news never stops, man. It's kind of terrifying. If you know me, I'm Vince Stone, and over here, all right, what are the odds I'm going to point in the right direction to Pedro with the camera setup I have now? In 3, 2, 1, all right. Damn it.
Nope. The other way around. See, I can actually point in the right direction, because I can sort of see myself where the camera is. Yeah. Hi there. Hi, everyone. Let's get into the news.
Let's jump right into it then. Let's see. And boop. Linux kernel hardeners. How do you say? Is it Grsecurity or G-Security?
I think it's Grsecurity.
Okay. Anyway, this story has been developing for about the last 2 3 weeks.
It's had several iterations, yes, because Grsecurity, they tend to be in the news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's going on with this business?
So the original story was that Grsecurity had had basically sued Bruce Perens, the open source person, Bruce Perens, for defamation. And this is because of...
hang on. I think we kind of want to back up a little bit for that, because originally he said, hey, man, you guys are releasing some things that, is conflicting with the GPL.
Yep.
And it was something in their terms. I don't remember the exact bits. I'm not going to pretend I do.
GPL version 2, section 6 explicitly prohibits the addition of terms such as redistribution prohibition, which is exactly what Grsecurity does. They take the Linux kernel, they add their patches, and then they say, now you can't redistribute the kernel with our patches without, paying us money. Well, they don't. It's not exactly like that. They try and carefully word it so they can work around or try and find a legal loophole in the GPL. But let's just say it hasn't been working so well, and people have been consistently calling them out on it. And Bruce Perens was one such person. And not just Bruce, but you may remember a couple of weeks ago, we mentioned the fact that Linus Torvalds, in one of his, least inflammatory rants, he said that Grsecurity's patches were garbage. And I think he kind of may have had a point, because Grsecurity now is feeling so very insecure that they are suing an open source developer for defamation.
If you can innovate, litigate, or anything like that, hey man, I just want to say this, if your business relies on, the Linux kernel, you might, I'm just saying here, this is a theory, Pedro, you might reconsider poking the people who make it. Because,
or not poking, yeah.
Yeah, you just might want to think about that 2 or 3 times, because seriously, absolutely, they could make your security patch program, how do I say this, slightly more than incompatible with the system.
Completely unusable? Completely invalidated. There's a bunch of words that start with IN that you could use in this particular scenario, and that is probably what's going to happen if somehow Grsecurity doesn't end up getting sued back. Because, if you have a look at the mailing lists, there are a lot of people in the Linux mailing lists who don't like Grsecurity. Not just because they agree with Linus that their patches are garbage, but exactly because of their consistent attempts to work around the GPL.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't have any personal hate for Grsecurity or anything like that. Never have. I honestly hadn't heard of them until this thing started going on a month or 2 back. Then it's like, well, yeah, they need to sort that. But when they did this, they're like, oh, let's go after the guy pointing out stuff that we've said.
None of which is factually inaccurate. So if everything he's saying is true, There goes your entire defamation case. Just poof.
Let's talk about something slightly less depressing.
It's Ubuntu.
Yeah, man.
You know that they're bringing
Quad Act 2017 and plans for GNOME shell migration. One of the things you kind of glean reading through this that Wayland is, according to this, going to be in 1710 with a Ubuntu. So and it looks like everyone's having a good time. No fist fights, and but they do address the default GNOME experience in 1710 and just what's going on with that. Did you see anything that really stuck out?
Not in this particular article, but there was another one from the Insights blog that I will add it to the show notes later, that they're also doing a little bit of a get-together in London. I think it's this upcoming Thursday, not tomorrow, but the one after. Or is it tomorrow? One of those. And they will be asking for people to basically go in and test the default GNOME experience and report any and all bugs. They're also looking to pick a theme and make sure everything looks coherent between the desktop and the login manager and everything else. So if you're in London, I think it's next week's Thursday, there's a link that you can go to. It's on the Insights blog, and I will post it in the show notes after we're done. So just keep your eye out for that.
Yeah, they were definitely talking about some changes to the user experience in GNOME and all that fun stuff. I don't use GNOME or KDE, so I can't really speak to that. It's going to be interesting to see how the Ubuntu project kind of transitions from Unity to GNOME made to look like Unity. So
it's really not that hard. Both GNOME 3 and Unity have sort of the same paradigm as far as the desktop goes, which is the HUD, rather than an actual desktop like you'd get with XFCE or Mate or KDE or really anything. So yeah, at least they share that paradigm. It's just that Unity was always a bit broken. And it was always a bit crap that no one else wanted to use.
We'll see. I mean, there are definitely people who genuinely loved Unity, and that's cool. Each to their own. Now it's the gnomes and all the business. So, and I think Popey just posted a link in chat realm. So yeah.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one I was talking about. Yes.
We will definitely throw that out. All right. Linux desktop recorder app. Why are we talking about this, Pedro? Because I mean, come on, you can just do everything in FFmpeg.
Well, you can. It actually uses FFmpeg. There's some things, especially when it comes to recording Wayland, that may need a bit more work, but that seems to have been sort of ameliorated nowadays. And even if you're not into the whole CLI FFmpeg magic like dear old Ven here is, you can do it now, if you want to try and record your Wayland session because you're doing a video for the YouTubes or what have yous, you can use the what do they call it? Grain Recorder 3. Yes, they have a GitHub page that you can find if your particular distro of choice doesn't have a package that you could just install. You can go through their GitHub. They give you the list of dependencies. And it's mostly Python, some GTK, there's FFmpeg, obviously, and a few other things. Oh, Image Magic, if you want to record your whatever you're doing as a GIF.
That's my favorite thing is the GIFs. It's there. The main reason we're talking about it, it's a wicked easy way for you to get up and running, recording some Wayland, and that's something I haven't. Outside of just having panic attacks about switching over to Wayland, haven't really looked into. But yeah, they definitely have a link to the project's PPA if you want to throw that in any of your Ubuntu's or Debian projects. And yeah, the GitHub, so pretty cool all around.
Yeah, it is. It's a GUI for Wayland recordings. That's perfectly fine until OBS starts supporting Wayland, at which point this will be obsolete.
No, well, listen, I too am optimistic about living to 2037, but
Look, we're talking about OBS, not XFCE or wine.
No, if it was XFCE, it'd be stable when it came out. All right. Power user web browser Vivaldi can be installed from the official repo. All right, that's kind of cool.
They have an official repo now. Neat. Okay.
No, that is. I mean, if you don't know about Vivaldi, I mean, it's based on Chromium. It's got the whiz-bang. It's from the creators of Opera. And yeah, they've made Chromium kind of psychotic whiz-bang weirdness. I wish I could say that we were using Vivaldi right now like we normally do, but we're absolutely not. Because, wrap your minds around this, ladies and gentlemen. I installed the PPA, which I'm running Ubuntu 16.04 dot whatever it is this week. The LTS. Installed the latest and greatest from Vivaldi. Now, I had all the show notes open in Vivaldi, ready and lined up, ready for the show. Did the upgrade, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to give it a reboot, and it should come up, as Chrome will do. And I was like, boom, there's all your tabs again. All the tabs are gone. They're still
the actual tab thing.
They're still there. At first, I thought they were closed. I was like, "Oh, gosh, darn it! Okay, well, I wasn't going to get too angry, Pedro." I was like, "Yeah, all right. I did a major upgrade from several versions or whatever they were running, and then I went to add a new tab, Control T. It just opened. I mean, it didn't show me any tabs, and I clicked. I spent a good 3 or 4 minutes trying to figure out how to Indiana Jones my way into the settings. It's too simple. It's so simple a Vin can't use it anymore. So yeah, all the tabs are still there. You can still Control Tab and it'll cycle through them, but I couldn't get them to display.
Yeah, it's just not showing. That could, I mean, that is one of the downsides of building an entire browser with CSS, because that's what they did. But yeah, you will probably the easiest way, if you don't want to think about it too much, just find the .config Vivaldi and .local share Vivaldi folders and nuke them. Just make a whole new Vivaldi session.
Or get this, you could just open up Chromium.
Or you could just, use an established browser.
That's absolutely what I did. I like playing around with a bunch of different things, but it was genuinely, do not have time for this. This is ridiculous. This is one of the worst experiences I've ever seen. I kind of like Vivaldi. I like Vivaldi just because I like different flavors and playing around with the different things. But I only like Vivaldi once you've disabled all the whoos-bang BS that it has on it. I don't...
It's like no animations, no fancy stuff. Everything's gone. Oh, look, it's actually a decent browser. You know, when it's not bugging out and hiding your tabs.
But hey, man, in the day of Electrum, we're all running Chromium somehow. Somewhere. Yeah, you just might not know it yet, man.
Yep.
Okay, let's lay off the browsers and talk about...
Oh, and talk about some more browsers? Yep, this is a test pilot. The Firefox test pilot. If you ever wanted to get in really early on the Firefox update, there were already the nightly builds, and this week you get some really, really new things. According to Nick Nguyen, not entirely sure that's how you pronounce it, there are some new features coming to Firefox, and if you go to testpilot.firefox.com, you can try them out for yourself. He does mention a few specific ones. There's Send, which is probably arguably, well, completely non-arguably, it is the single most useful feature that he mentions.
What is it? Tell me about it. Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a little file sending system built into Firefox.
Oh, all right. I heard about that earlier this week.
Yeah.
To not directly quote South Park, Firefox, tell me again, how come you're not a Google Drive?
Yeah. So I think what it does is it actually sends encrypted files. I'm guessing it's okay. Yeah, the download link expires after 24 hours. So I guess that explains that. It's not exactly Google Drive, but it's coming close. There's a 1 gigabyte limit to the files you upload for now. We'll have
Sending
to see.
Files over the internet is something many of us do every day. Mozilla makes it easy. to keep your files safe. They self-destruct after download, accessed by anyone, encrypted during transmission, and
yeah, it's encrypted. It's an encrypted file. So yeah, outside of that, you also get voice fill, which is if you see a text box, you can hit the microphone icon that shows up on Firefox, and then scream into your local tin can, and it will try its best in text for speech, text to speech, fill it in for you. And then there's notes. It's literally a side pane sticky note that you can write things in because, taking notes in the browser now. What is this, 1995?
It might as well be. The most heavily used text editor in my entire system is Thunderbird's Compose window.
Okay, I have Get It for that if I need a URL to just copy paste.
Get It's when I want to get advanced. I don't know why. I guess it's just for the longest time we didn't have basic spell check functionality in a lot of programs on Linux, but Thunderbird had it. That's just been, if I got Thunderbird open and I need to jot something down, then again I have it set to autosave drafts too, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I usually just have pen paper. It's actually music notation paper.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a pen and paper. It's I want not just pen and paper, as I mentioned. I use Get It to get those URLs in a place, and I can just copy them and to and fro the browser window. But I'm assuming if Firefox crashes and that node hasn't auto-saved, you will lose everything. So I'd rather not take that chance because I have seen Firefox crash a great deal many times.
Well, one thing I was excited about, I was reading through all this new stuff, and my first thought was, why don't we do some work on the browser in Firefox? It's like, check this out.
And they did. Firefox 55 is now available for download. You probably, if you were on Google Plus yesterday, at any point, you will have seen that everyone was talking about Firefox 55. And okay, it is a reasonable release. They have pushed out, let's see, what Linux-specific improvements they have. Yeah?
Well, the first one I really wanted to know was that whether or not the Ubuntu modification plugin still causes the multi-process Windows to get disabled in 1604, because last time I checked, it did.
Yeah, it does. At least I assume they do, because they don't specifically mention anything
regarding... By the way, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you can force override that.
Yeah, you can. Mm-hmm. You can actually just Google force enable multi-process Firefox. You'll get the tutorial. And now Google even does those teeny tiny text boxes at the top with, if you ask them how to do something, you just get it right then and there. That's it. But yeah, no, they do mention specifically that the, what was it? They did change something with the multi-process windows. Let's see. In settings that lets user take greater control of our new multi-process architecture. Yes,
well,
and the other
cool.
one.
I was looking in the developer section, and sites that don't use SSL, they can no longer geolocate you. I don't know anybody who has location enabled. That is one of my favorite. Second favorite thing. My favorite thing is this website would like to send you notification. Nope, and followed by this.
I think there's a way to say no to all on those.
Pedro, there is, but why would you derive me of the joy of clicking deny? And
fair enough. But yeah, no, they do say
they also made the Adobe Flash plugin is now click to activate.
Just get rid of Flash, Firefox, please. Come on, someone has to. Someone has to take that first step. And, Apple already did, but it's not like anyone can use Safari. Maybe Windows users, but. Last time I tried Safari on Windows, it was so slow, I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. So you probably want to get rid of Flash altogether. Google, Firefox, anyone, please. That's But yeah, that's not the case yet. So now they did say about the concurrent multiprocess for a single content window that you can actually modify the number of concurrent content processes to get faster page loading or get more responsive tab switching in Firefox. So that's a good thing. And they have considerably improved the functionality for the address bar. All the notes for all the changelog will be available in the show notes once the show's up. So you can have a look if you haven't already tried it for yourself, which chances are you have.
Well, we have one last little thing. Before we get out of here, we're just going to get into it, and we're going to get out of it real quick, because I think it's important to clarify what a lot of people thought went on versus what actually went on.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about a site that we absolutely will pull news from, so there's no hating on here, so go ahead and save that from the OMG Ubuntu.
Ubuntu?
Right. And, well, earlier this week I just noticed, why is this site not being allowed in our Reddit, which is, reddit.com. It's a subreddit of Linux, our Linux. And this was not posted at the top as a sticky. It's like halfway down in the comments section. A moderator writes back, somebody originally asked, hey, what's up with this business? When did OMG Ubuntu get banned here? To which it was Jampola, if you want to do Control F in this thing here. It's simple. Last rule in the sidebar. Please submit the original article. And that's it. Everything else that I've seen people just screaming about free speech and censorship and all this. No, it's just a rule in a sidebar.
It's more than a rule in the sidebar. If you were on Reddit at any point in the past, you may have seen a little something called the Reddit, or however you say it. So it's basically the Reddit etiquette. And all it does is look for the original source of the content. And if that source happens to be a mailing list, which is often the case when it comes to Linux, post that. And if you don't like to look at the mailing list results because, it's a website from the 90s, I don't want to deal with that, don't look at it. You can find OMG Ubuntu. Okay, so you can't post it on our Linux. Chances are you don't just go to our Linux for your news. You're on Twitter, you're on G+, you're on Facebook. So yeah, you will be able to get to see.
I think it's important
OMG
to kind of point out that, Reddit as a whole, if you're running a website, and I am just saying this, free bit of advice. I mean, if your business model relies on, just finding something that's neat, you found it, that's cool. Maybe no one else found it, and you're writing a blurb around it. Then you're posting that to Reddit. So, you have your blurb linked to the source. Reddit has fallen out of love with that. So you might want to lick your finger organ and check the wind on that. And I've definitely seen a lot of sites switching over to doing reviews, editorials, and stuff like that, because they don't want to end up having the bad time. Unfortunately, I've also seen other sites I'm not going to call it clickbait. I don't like that word. But, the equivalent of BuzzFeed listicles and trying to maintain that just like, let's get those clicks and all that. But
you won't believe number 7.
Did you see number 8? Check that out in the show notes. Okay. One last thing. It's not really Linux related. It's just a bit of a celebration.
Finally.
It is 100% final now, because they're like, okay, this thing's dead, but I mean, it's legit net. That's the podcasting patent that is kind of threatened everything that I listen to or watch for entertainment these days. And the federal court...
Or that you produce as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, technically we do a podcast too. Okay, maybe. Every now and then.
Or two.
Yeah, the federal court upheld it, podcasting patent from personal audio. And they threatened that Apple had actually paid these people. Boo on you, Apple.
Oh, yeah. Apple and someone else actually settled with them a few years back. But then they decided to go after Google And let's just say that Google is no stranger to
Google didn't take him
legal
down, man.
process.
Google wasn't the one who took him down. Love him.
Was it?
Love him or hate him. The person who really...
Oh, it was the EFF.
No, it wasn't.
And who was it?
See, Pedro was reading articles without knowing the history, so... Adam Carolla is the one responsible for really throwing the wrench. Because they went after Adam Carolla's podcasting network, which is massive.
Oh, yeah, that,
Carolla Media. And
yeah.
he's like, you know what? We're going to go to court. And he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they finally settled out of court. They kind of got the hint. But then this is the death nail on top of that. This is to make sure it can't come back. And it's completely invalidated, man.
Yep. Now the Court of Appeals finally upheld the ruling back from 2015. So it's dead. It's dead. Just let it be. Do the same to Flash while you're at it.
It was ridiculous, but just the idea of like distributing media via RSS feed. And I think the first, Adam Curry was doing that like before they had their, I don't know.
Yeah, they had two patents. It was that one and it was the podcasting RSS feed one and the playlist one.
Yeah, it's total craziness. Yeah, I agree with everyone in chat right now. It's common sense actually prevailed.
For once.
Fair enough, for once. But you can help us prevail, Pedro. How can they go about doing that?
Oh, yes, you can help us prevail in your mind, in the minds of everyone else. But let's say you don't have any money. You can share this, what you're listening to right now, put it in your coworkers' ears, whether or not they want. It's amazing. If they slap you.
Pedro, maybe we shouldn't be doing marketing by assaulting your coworkers audibly. Sonic warfare, yes.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So, if you don't want to get punched or slapped or kicked, you may want to give us some money instead. That's probably easier all around. So you can do that by going to linuxgamecast.com. You hit the support button. It's easy enough. You get plenty of choices. You get our Patreons, our Amazon affiliate links, the Amazon wish list in case you don't want to send us money directly and you'd rather send us something immaterial, as it were. And you also get a QR code and PayPal donate buttons. That QR code will let you send us magic.
I gotta admit, I love the way that she's like, yeah, send us some money, like we're doing a laundering operation. It's like, woo, just roll it in. Hey, if you'd like to support the show, that'd be awesome. We don't take a salary out of any of this. We don't do commercials. Everything we get goes directly back into the show, and probably got some upgrades coming that are going to be slightly better than really neat. And I really have to work on getting these controls right. But we do need to thank some beautiful people who joined us on Patreon.
Oh,
Patreon's a really cool place because there's 30 hours of audio only available to patrons, podcast form, custom RSS feed, early access to shows. If you like that business, that sounds like a good deal. Come help us out, get some of that sweet sauce. But, and access to Discord. That's kind of great. Who do we have this week? We had a couple.
We have a couple. We have Popey. You may know him as Alan Pope. Yeah. He threw in some wet stinkies during last week's LWDW. And we also have Alexander Blackwell and, Mr. Chad Longstuff. He does not like me. I don't blame him. I kind of don't like myself either. But yeah, no. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Alex. And we're actually past 200 now, aren't we?
We are past 200. So, I mean, if you know the rules, if we screech over, what are we in danger of? Our previous goal that we finally hit was, you see, Jordan hates Serious Sam a lot, the BFE, and we're going to force him to play it. Not just us, because Serious Sam has this beautiful thing that we thought it would be an interesting thing to accomplish, 16-player online multiplayer. So we can bring the whole family in on this one.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. Next thing we have coming up is a merch run that terrifies me. It's some of the design ideas that might get submitted. But I do want everyone to know that, that's the rules. If we close the end of the month out on this, so what do we got? Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something left on this month?
2 weeks and some odd change.
All right, 2 weeks and some change. We will begin gleefully torturing Jordan with the 16 BFE. Also, I'm going to post a thing because if you're at a 250 or above, not quite a sea monster, you get access to our LGC weekly notes. I know a lot of people have asked, hey, can I get the Wednesday notes for Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays? And I'm like, yeah, it's just, we're doing a lot of this stuff manually. It's not automated. So I'm going to put a post up there, and I don't want to spam any. I don't want to, I just have a list of people above that certain thing. I'm going to put a post on Patreon where you can just post back to me and just like, yo, just hit me with that. And I want that showing up in my inbox so I can comment, suggest, and leave some notes on our notes. See that sausage getting made. All right.
All right. So that's plenty of shilling.
Get into the pie.
Indeed. Some slicey pie. And how do you say this? Pimoroni? Pimoroni?
I don't know, man. It sounds like pepperoni with a lisp.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's version 5 now. So what is Pimoroni? I genuinely don't know.
What do you, for once, it's a soldering iron with 2 hands, man. It's handmade with love, Pedro. Come on.
No, I genuinely didn't read this one. I had to be very selective with the notes I read today because I didn't have a whole lot of time and I didn't read this one.
It's Pimoroni, man. Come on.
I don't know.
Listen, we got minutes to burn. I can torture you with this for a little while.
Can you torture me though? Because I genuinely don't know. I don't know.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, I've actually given him enough time to Google this, which I'm going to do live. Actually, no, I'm not, man. Whoa, what's wrong with Chrome?
You threatened to Google things.
I know. Train wreck, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. A company of makers and educators based in Sheffield, UK. Feel bad, Pedro. Creators of the Pibo. Case for Raspberry Pi in the UK's large, Adafruit reseller.
Oh, okay.
See,
all right, so
now they're fine.
They created
Pedro.
The Pibo. I've heard of the Pibo. I've never seen one, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you've suffered enough.
Okay, well, I did end up doing a bit of reading about the next story, which is about the Raspberry Pi Zero GPIO being updated to version 1.4, at least the software tool that complements it, which now actually gives you a really nice overview of the, not just the GPIO pins, but the board itself.
What? Oh man, it's got a that's a game.
It's a GUI in the terminal. Yeah,
that's a game genie that is cheating.
So yeah, you actually get to see exactly what all the GPIO pins mean. So no more getting confused and getting your ground swapped with your positives or your negatives or your 5-volt rails. So
Pedro, life finds a way.
Oh yeah, I'm sure someone will, instead of hooking to a ground, will hook into one of the 5 volts and basically fry their Pi. But hey, that's just life. So it's really neat. They're also offering some buttons now if you'd like to have that clicky feel for GPIO interaction. You can get some pretty buttons, and they also give you the code as to how to get said buttons to work. They also have some LED.
Maybe I can get a Pi Zero and 104 of them. I got an idea.
Yeah. You could, if you have the inclination and the money to spend on those many buttons, I'm pretty sure you can make a keyboard.
You can make an extra big. You can actually be like the chief annoying person in the office. Like, you've been like,
look at what I did.
I'm telling you, man, this entire time you've been like super jelly of the guy next to you because he had like red switches. You're like, oh, And you can make one that you can just slap like that. I mean, it'll be brilliant.
I can do that to this keyboard. I don't, because I want it to last, but I could.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, no, it's actually really neat. And GPIO, there's so much stuff you can do with a Raspberry Pi's GPIO. It's insane. So that's part of the appeal as to why, besides being a fully fledged computer, teeny tiny, you also get all of that neat hardware stuff that you would otherwise only be able to do with an Arduino or something a bit more dedicated. Or, yeah, a bit more dedicated. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Prototype board? Yeah.
You're struggling this week, son. See, the biggest issue is Pedro's got all the stuff he needs to go download. He's distracted.
Yeah. Well, that too, and it was a very, very long day. I woke up at 7:30.
Oh. If you want to guess when I got up, son?
Yes, but you get up at like 4 a.m. and then you just do things. I can't get up that early.
All right. Hey, we've had fun. Hopefully you've had fun. Maybe you want to... I don't know, Pedro. Do you think it would be a good idea if people could just like send us messages and ask questions, thoughts, hints, allegations? Or
considering it's Wednesday, it's probably all right if they do, yeah.
Okay.
On Saturdays, well, there's a reason we call it hate mail. Yeah. Even though we don't get a whole lot of it, unfortunately. I like hate mail. We do
have a little bit of a feedback section. If you want to hit us at linuxgamecast.com, it's cleverly disguised under the contact button. Pick the right show. We have 2 shows. Maybe we're going to have some more shows. I don't know. Spoilers. And, if you got questions, thoughts, hints, and all that fun stuff, man. But we didn't get a ton. Oh, you can leave comments in YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. Just
no promises we'll see them, but
get
you can.
Screechy if they don't show up on the show. Okay, just 9. All right. So this one we got to have a little bit of talk about.
Oh yes. So you may remember we talked about the swap files. Mm-hmm. What was it? Can't remember where the article came from, but last week we talked about the pluses of having a swap file.
You should run a swap file because kernels like
swap file
and...
or a swap partition. Just have some swap ready. You never know when something's going to go awry, and a lot of Linux software was built accounting for swap. So even if you have like 64 gigs of DDR4 to 3200 megahertz RAM, you will probably still use a teeny tiny amount of that swap just because there's that one bit of software or, the kernel that likes to address certain things to not active memory, but just to swap. And it's fine. It's usually something so small that you don't really miss anything. And Cody, he wrote in, it's like, okay, swap space, sure. But which swap should we be using more though? Partitions or files? Well, if Matthew was here, he would say swap files are the future because flexibility and whatnot. He actually left us some comments, and he says the future, actually the present, is having 16 gigabytes of RAM or more, making swap useless to begin with. Okay, so I was wrong. I thought Strider was actually I actually thought he was going to say, yeah, no, swap files are good, but no. Okay, fair enough. And yeah. Now, if you do have in my opinion, if you have a limited, like a teeny tiny SSD, you may want to use a swap file because since then you can actively manage how big that file is without having to sack and create a whole new partition that could cause issues. But if it's just a file, you have that malleability. Mm-hmm. But if you have a 1 terabyte plus warm storage hard drive in your box, then you don't really need to worry about it. Just set up a partition. 8 gigs is plenty. right now 8 gigs is plenty. And the moment you start hearing that hard drive kick in, it's like, why is everything writing all of a sudden? Oh, that's right. I'm swapping. And that is usually just enough buffer for you to catch a memory leak from Chrome, which has happened to me twice.
Well, to get it through this, I mean, it's not going to kill you to put a swap partition in. I mean, if you like to live dangerously and you want to collect cool points, we used to call them punk points. It's, penguin points, same difference with that. Like, I don't run a swap. Arch! And yeah, if that's your game, man, that's cool. Each to their own. No one's judging you on that. It's not going to kill you to drop 8 gigs of SSD storage or spinny disk storage or anything. I mean, and Narlin, yeah, you have a point. In chat, he's it's going to be the same thing. I was going to make a joke and just like, no, man, just set your crosspoint module to swap and you're good. You don't have to worry about it. But yeah, crosspoint's going to be the future. We're going to have to wait around for that because you're going to have to rewrite the way operating systems work when we're dealing with something. How fast is crosspoint? Crosspoint's like 35% the speed of RAM. That sounds slow. It's like, it's not.
35% the speed of RAM. Let's see. DDR4. So what? 20 something gigabytes per second? 18 at the slowest?
As Bentley used to like to say, it's sufficient.
18 gigabytes per second. Yeah, that's way too slow.
But to get back to Cody, I guess what I would say, I mean, for me, I do my partitions by hand because get off my lawn. Not because I'm trying to be cool and or anything like that.
It's just muscle memory.
Always used a swap partition. Maybe the swap files are good. There is a point to that with the expandability. You're not cracking out a copy of Gparted, and then you got to sacrifice the chicken. That's always messy. And yeah.
Every now and again, there will be a drive with faulty firmware that will go, oh, you just nuked the partition? Wait, did you mean the whole file table? No, I just meant the partition. Oh. I just nuked the whole file table.
No, that's great. That is like, I don't know, reboot and find out. Come on, dare you. It's absolutely brilliant. And everyone here has been brilliant. We tried to be brilliant early on, but it just kind of failed.
We failed miserably, but then again.
But, that's what you should expect. Hey, we'll see you next week. It's been fun, as always. If you want to get in touch with me, down there on my little Chiron at Vinstone, Twitter nuts. Do a search for Vinstone and Pedro coming with his blazing 15K of upload speed. Being generous.
Well, it's not 15K, it's 160K. So yeah, not that far off. Yeah, I know. I have UK internet now. ADSL internet. It's terrible. Because I learned this today. There's fiber 1 mile up my road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then from that point down, no more fiber. So here I am stuck on ADSL. But hey, at least it's unlimited. Or it's so slow that I will never hit the data cap and they can sell it as unlimited. Thanks, Empty. Appreciate that one.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a thing. I was saying if I was you, I would have bought like 3 or 4 boxes of Cat 6. Splice and headed in that direction, knocking on doors. It's like, who wants me to pay for their internet?
It's like, I could chip in for your internet. Just plug this in. Yeah, so it's manageable. It's 5 megabits down and 1 up. It's gets at around 2, 3 up at some point during the day, or I'm guessing the night, but it hasn't happened yet. We'll see. If you want to find me in the meantime, though, because now I can have all the internets and all the devices at the same time, you can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter, plus Mateos on Google+, and / Unaccounted For on Steam. It's easy enough.
All right, beautiful people. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Yeah, ADSL. It's like, for every single time that Van Jordan, whoever else, mocked Portugal for being a third world country, here we are. Portugal has decent internet compared to the UK.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. It's one of those value add propositions like, fast internet or getting shot to death in the street.
I mean, probably get stabbed here with as much of a likelihood of me getting shot in Portugal.
Man, David.
I've been shot in Portugal. I haven't been stabbed here yet.
I was about to say, man.